Hello and welcome! My name is Hugh and this is my first battle video from World of Warships, and I wanted to start this one a little bit early. Usually I probably wouldn't mind showing this queue, but I just wanted to explain something that's interesting to this game. And it is their target for queuing time is that never have a queue time longer than 5 minutes. So this of course is nice if you just want to play a bunch of battles. The one thing it means is that sometimes the priority of getting you started with a battle is higher than the priority of giving you a fair battle. It can sometimes lead to battles that have very big differences between the different tiers of ships. So that's just something you need to know. I don't know if it continues to be a problem once you get up in the higher tiers, because obviously the higher you get in the tiers, the more people who are playing the game a lot you'll run into, because it takes time to get the higher tiers. And I also get the sense that people will be most likely to play the more advanced ships, because it's frankly just more fun to have a new shining toy. And they also usually give more strategic options, so it probably makes the game a little bit more interesting. So yeah, just wanted to get that out as well, since I was sitting here waiting anyway. So these first couple of battles, when you play the game for the first time, are all about learning how to play the game. You actually, when you register your account and play for the first time, you play your first couple of games against bots, along with other new captains, and the game has a really nice way of kind of getting you into how to play the game by playing. So you get introduced slowly through advancing in levels in the game to what the different things you can put on your ship and how to get the different ships and upgrading your ships and stuff like that. So that's actually really nice. So let's get into a battle here and see what it's all about. This game is all tier 1 cruisers, so everyone will be basically the same power level. As you can see, there are some different things here. We can see down here we have a minimap, which is very important. I'm just going to turn on some different circles here. You can see the orange here is our AA guns. The ones with the broken lines are my visibility. Just gonna be sailing a little bit here. You can see that I'm changing, over here you can see I'm changing my speed. It's like in a real ship, right? You have full rudder, full speed, 3/4 speed, so on and so forth. And then I can adjust my rudder as well. I can also do that manually. This is done with AWSD and QE. And you can see down on the minimap that this is my plotted course, and this is the way I'm looking. And it's not as important, especially not in these early cruisers. But later on, especially when you get into battleships, the cannons actually takes time to change position. So it's important that you keep your target or your mouse to where you wanna look or shoot later on, so your cannon can adjust. So you might be asking, what then if I want to look around? Well, you can hold down right mouse button and get this free look view where you can like look around all you want without affecting how your cannon is. So when you let go of the mouse, it just snaps back. You can also hold down shift to do this zoom look, where you can look in and get a better aim. I have turned on a variant on the aiming, so all of these different dots on the bar is seconds. So as you can see to the left of my firing, see how many seconds these boats are away, and that can kind of help me aim where I want to shoot. You still have to kind of know a little bit about how fast the different ships can travel and stuff like this. But generally it helps you aim a little bit better. Let's see if we can shoot some of these boats. As you can see, we are shooting rather fast because we are in a cruiser. Of course, if you have bigger cannons, they also have bigger shells and it takes longer time to load them. So there are trade-offs of bigger boats. You can also sail in the destroyers, which have torpedoes. So there are lots of things you can play around with. You can see on my aiming bar, if I move it around like this, the yellow circles are my cannons, and they are kind of traversing, so they're ready to shoot. And yeah, this is basically what the gameplay is all about: finding good angles to shoot your enemies without getting shot yourself. Hoping that you can figure out the speeds and knowing how to hit the armor. Obviously, things that could be good is like angling your ship so they have less ship to shoot at and have more steep angles to your armor. So and that was kind of my first game. Yeah, it's kind of fast-paced when you have these all cruiser battles, and I was maybe also a little bit aggressive and not thinking as much because I'm trying to explain as much. But yeah, the things you need to worry about is how am my ship in relation to the other ship, especially when there are different ship types. A battle cruiser or a battleship is big and has lots of HP, so it can kind of take a bit of a beating, but it's also slow, so it's very vulnerable to things like torpedoes or aircraft. Cruisers are kind of in the middle, where they are slightly faster and have faster but smaller cannons, so they are good at taking down smaller targets, but worse at taking down bigger targets like battleships. Destroyers have very, very weak weapons, or cannons at least, so that's not what they're gonna do. What they are good at is sneaking around, doing support for the bigger ships. Some of them are really good at torpedoes, and some of them are really good at just being support ships, making sure that other torpedo ships don't get close to your big battleships and carriers. And of course, their carriers, they kind of play the game in a completely different way, where they have a more strategic top-down view and are moving around all the different planes to try and win the battle that way. As you can see, there are also 2 control points on the map. There are different map modes. This one is kind of a base mode, where each team has one base. If you cap that base, if you are in the capture area for long enough and you are alone, then you will capture the base and your team will win. Another way to win is, of course, to shoot all the other ships, and then all battles are timed. I think they're timed at about 20 minutes. It means that once 20 minutes have passed, the game will just end, and the people with the highest score will win. You can see here, if you press tab, you get this information about all the ships. You can see which ships are in the game, which ships are still left. You can see how many points you lose for losing ships, how many you gain for shooting other ships. You get points for holding control points, and in this version of that, you get 1,000 points for capturing a control point, which, because it only goes to 800, means you win. There are other maps where there are several control points instead of bases, and the game is then about holding those points for gaining points. I would say in the lower tiers, I'm so far playing up until tier 4. Most games end by the other team being completely destroyed. But that's because most people are new to the game and just want to get in and shoot with their ships, just like I did in this game. As you can see, the game actually had a pretty nice spectator mode for when you are kind of dead. And you can even have a look at other ships from their perspective. And you can do things like follow the shells in for the kill. So you can just once you're dead, you can just leave the match. There's no penalty for that, and you'll still receive XP and so on and so forth. But your ship cannot be used again while you are dead. So at least when it's a close match, or if it's close to ending, I usually stay around and see what happens. This is also a way of kind of seeing what other people do. Why are they alive? Did they just hide down in a corner, or are they just using some techniques that you didn't really think about? As you can see in this game, we are kind of winning. I'm green team. We have 5 cruisers left, which you can see up here, and they have 2 left. And besides, we are currently trying to cap their base. What can you do about this? Well, if you shoot at a ship that's trying to cap a base, their time is reset, or at least some of their time is reset. Another thing you can kind of maybe see is that this ship was gone for a little while, and that's because each ship, as I kind of was talking about, has detection ranges. The smaller the ship, the smaller the detection range, obviously, and there are also different detection ranges from sea, so from other ships, or from air, so for the different types of aircraft that are in the game. And that means that you can kind of, especially when you're playing destroyers, you can use a tactic of basically staying invisible to the enemy, and that way you can get in closer and fire off your torpedoes. And even some of the bigger ships, especially in the cruiser class, will have longer range cannons than their detection range, so they can kind of get in close to the enemy and get off the first shot. This is limited by the fact, though, that you can communicate with your allies. So if any of your allies see a ship, you will also see it. So if you want to use those tactics, you need to be attacking the closest ship, not the farthest ship. Right now, these 2 last boats for the opposing team are trying to flee. They're kind of killing this poor black swan here. A couple more trying to capture the point. Might be able to see that the time kind of resets whenever they hit one of them. You can also see up here that I did 15 hits during the game. 11 of those were penetrations, and 4 of them didn't penetrate the armor, probably because I got on too steep of an angle or hit one of the most armored parts of the game, or the ship. There are also 2 other types. You can have an over-penetration, where the ammunition you are using are too heavy for the kind of ship you're using. This usually happens if you are a larger ship, like a battleship, shooting on smaller ships. And that means it does less damage because it doesn't explode before it's all the way through a ship. Finally, there are ricochets, which usually happens if you shoot on armor with too steep of an angle. The way you can get around these kind of, especially around over-penetration, is by, or non-penetration in this case, is by using different ammo types. There are 2 different ammo types. At the start of the game, the first tier ships only have 1 type, but later on you can choose between armor-penetrating rounds and high-explosive rounds, where the armor-penetrating rounds give more damage, but are more dependent on the other guy's armor, whereas the high-explosive ones always do at least a little bit of damage when they hit, and can also set fires. Anyway, we won this battle, even though I was completely, to say it nicely, shit in this battle. And here you can see what you get. Sorry. So we get a bunch of the in-game currency for playing. Some of this we'll have to pay back for repairing and rearming our ship, which is just like a basic cost of playing, which means that if you don't do anything in a battle, for example, if you're AFK, then you will lose a little bit from being in the battle. You also get some XP experience. This is the normal experience, and you get this because what you did. So See here, my base XP was 456, and I gained some extra because this was my first battle and also because I'm paying for premium. But this is based off of how much damage you did and what other types of ribbons you got. For example, you can get ribbons for capping a control point, capturing a control point, or you can get points for shooting down airplanes if there are carriers in the battle. You can gain points for scoring particularly good hits called citadels, hitting the main vulnerable target of the ship. Let me think. You can also get points for stopping the other team from capping a point by shooting at them. And then there are bonus points for getting last hits, I think. At least you do get a ribbon for it. And then finally, there is something called free XP that you gain if you're sailing a ship that already is fully upgraded. Then you'll get these free XP. And something we can come into a little bit more if this catches on when I will do some more detailed explaining of the different ships. But basically, these normal XP are tied to the specific ship you're playing, while these are tied to or can be used on all ships. So when we upgrade a ship, let's just go back. And this is the first video, I might as well show you. If you go back here and look at this ship, it can get upgraded for 100 XP, or I can just upgrade to the next type ship, which is what I'm gonna do. So what I do is I select this ship and I research it using 350 of the XP from the previous ship. I cannot use these XP on the Omikaze, for example, because I have to get those XP from this ship. But because I have XP from the previous ship, I can research this one. And then I also have to buy it. And because I've been playing for a little bit, I also have to choose to get a commander for my ship. And I'm just going to choose a basic one. And then you need to actually have room in your port for all of these ships. Which is, well, if you are being negative, this is basically also they can earn some more money by selling you these slots. But again, I think it's fair that if you like a game, you pay at least a bit for it, and these slots are not expensive. That being said, I don't want to be keeping my tier 1 ship here, so I'm just going to get rid of it. If you have a ship you paid for, you can get some of the money back, but I didn't pay for the intro ship, so that's that. So as you can see here, even though we had XP left over on the other ship, they don't carry over to this ship. However, we do have this free XP, so instead of paying for this by playing, I can just go ahead and upgrade it right now, which I'm going to do. Again, I also have to pay to mount these upgrades, so that's what you need all of these credits for, is buying new ships and upgrading them. So now I have a fully upgraded tier 2 ship, which we'll be playing in my next matches. So, hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, consider the like button, subscribing. Hope to see you next time, and until then, have a good day.